You've been watching way too many motorcycle videos and you have finally decided that you want to buy one for yourself. I have been officially riding for almost 6 years now. I bought my first motorcycle back in 2019, right before COVID hit. My first motorcycle was a 2008 Yamaha FC6. I'm gonna leave a photo of it right here. And I bought that bike for, drum roll please, $2,300, $2,300. Buying your first motorcycle is gonna vary country to country. So this was my experience buying my first bike in America. The reason I chose the Yamaha FC6 is because basically it was a miniature detuned Yamaha R6, which was my favorite motorcycle at the time. The FC6 being detuned and the fact that it was quite ugly for what it was a very cheap motorcycle to buy and maintain. It had much better service intervals compared to the R6. It was a lot cheaper to buy. Those bikes were a dime a dozen back then for that price. Now, since COVID happened and inflation happened, those bikes have gone up in price, but there's still much cheaper alternatives to the R6 or other sport bikes. Meanwhile, it has a nice, comfortable riding position, much like this bike. Upright seating position. While that bike is much heavier compared to this bike, and I much prefer this one over that now, as a beginner bike, it was phenomenal. I always tell people your first motorcycle should be something cheap. I don't tell people you have to start on a 300, you should start on a 600, you should be okay on a 1000. I tell people that you should buy the motorcycle that you are not afraid to buy and you're not afraid to lose. If you're gonna spend $25,000 on a brand new Ducati V4, great. Go for it. But just understand that the chances are that you're going to likely crash that motorcycle and lose every bit of value that you had invested in that bike. If you're cool with losing $25,000, I know I'm not, but let's say you got money out the wazoo, be my guest. Buy a $25,000 bike. It's your life, bro. It's not mine. But I'm going to go ahead and guess the majority of people getting into motorcycles probably want to spend the least amount of money as possible, like most sane people do. So if you're going to spend something around $2,000 or $3,000 on a motorcycle, it's likely going to be something very cheap and very slow. So you end up doing exactly what most people want you to do anyway. I just try to tell people get something cheap. I feel much better about crashing a $3,000 motorcycle than I would a $15,000 motorcycle. I bought my first motorcycle while in high school. I had just turned 18 years old. My birthday is in December. I had saved up my money working at Target. Now I'm very fortunate. I was raised in a very middle class household. My mom is a nurse. My dad's a firefighter. While I never lived in poverty, my dad did not come from a very wealthy background. And so I'm very fortunate my parents worked as hard as they did and gave me a lot of opportunities growing up. Now, unfortunately, I am not a perfectly able-bodied person. I was born with about 50% hearing loss in both of my ears. There's nothing I can really do about it. I'm fortunate in the fact that like both the way hearing loss works is it's like based off of frequencies. Since it's like nerve loss, I can only hear certain frequencies in my left ear and I can only hear certain frequencies in my right. And so it balances out for the most part, but on paper, it looks really bad. So my original plan in life, I wanted to be like Top Gun. I wanted to ride motorcycles and fly airplanes. And I very quickly figured out after high school, I'm not allowed to fly airplanes with my hearing the way that it is. I can get my private license. I cannot fly a commercial aircraft ever in my life. I'm not allowed. And which this upset me deeply. And so me being the reactionary I am, I decided to join the military, which is also something that I wasn't allowed to do. So I ended up selling my first bike, my Yamaha FC6. I sold that bike for $3,300, which was about $1,000 more than what I bought it for. So I made money on that bike, which was a good thing at the time. I then joined the military during COVID, lied through MEPS, telling them that I had no medical history and I had perfect hearing, even though that was a complete lie, of which then I had a flight physical after basic training in the Air Force, which then my disabled hearing was unfortunately discovered and I was medically separated from the military. Though I wasn't allowed to keep my uniforms, I had to give those back to the military. I was allowed to keep my base pay that I earned while in basic training and graduated basic training. And so I had a couple months of pay under my belt. And as soon as I got back home, I bought my second motorcycle with my military pay. That was my 2014 Yamaha FZ09. Little bit of an upgrade over the FZ6, but I had bought that bike for $4,500. Shortly after doing that, I started working an IT job for about $10 an hour. And from that point on, I started funding my motorcycling obsession, slowly buying more motorcycles such as a ZX6R, Ducati V2, basically bankrupting myself up until the point that social media started paying me for the content that I make now, which is why I can afford the motorcycles that I can afford. No, I didn't wake up one morning and just magically have a motorcycle content page for which I can upload videos and make ad revenue from that. No, I originally worked for my first motorcycles. And the cool thing about motorcycles is they're really cheap if you want them to be. Yeah, a bike like my Ducati V2 is going to be a little bit more expensive than your typical beginner bike, but there are tons of motorcycles on Craigslist, Marketplace, in dealerships sometimes where you can get massive deals and savings on motorcycles. And the cool thing is these things are not supercars, and so you can afford these bikes working a regular job. The key is to stay out of debt. Credit card debt is unfortunately an epidemic in my generation, and it holds a lot of people back from being able to afford the things that they want to buy. Even while in high school, I made sure I never got into any debt. I didn't get my first credit card until I was 21. Never went into debt in any of my motorcycles. I still, to this day, buy all of my motorcycles in cash. The only payments I have a month are for rent for my apartment. I'm fortunate I don't have like a drug addiction or anything. The only things I really buy and spend a lot of money on are these things. I'm dating somebody who doesn't make me take them out to really fancy dinners all the time. They're really cheap dates, and I love them for it. I've set my life up around motorcycles, which I get not everybody wants to do, but I also spend more on these things than anybody else. So the average American is only going to spend around $5,000 to $10,000, and even to this day, you can still get much below that. I should also mention I don't really save for retirement either. I literally don't have a retirement fund. So not a brag, by the way. That's actually a bad thing. But again, that's another reason why I'd spend so much on these things, is because I have a little bit of extra income. I just wanted to shout out this guy real quick. He was being very nice. He said, goat of the moto content right now. Thank you, sir, very much. I appreciate you. So the actual process of buying your first motorcycle is going to be quite easy, to be honest with you. So I realize a lot of you may not know the first step on what to do when shopping for your first bike. So I just wanted to pull this up. This is Facebook Marketplace. This is a really easily accessible thing that pretty much every single one of you should be able to gain access to. Even if you don't have a Facebook account, you can probably ask your dad or mom to use theirs. Go to Marketplace, look up motorcycles, and this literally took me 5 minutes to find. This is a 2015 Yamaha FZ listed for $5,000. And usually with Marketplace, there is a little bit of negotiation involved. So you could likely talk this person down to like $4,500 or even $4,000. It's a clean title Yamaha, which means this bike is basically going to run forever, with an exhaust already installed on it. Having owned one of these bikes, I know that they're full of character and lovely bikes to ride, and it's only got 6,900 miles on it. Giggity. With a full list of mods, and it looks like it's been relatively clean and maintained. Yeah, it's not going to be the flashiest bike of all time. I mean, naked bikes never are, but it is a working, running, driving motorcycle that'll likely make 50, 60,000 miles, no problem. That's literally unlimited memories for basically $4 or $5,000, maybe even less, depending on how good of a negotiator you are and how much of a rush that the seller is to get rid of their bike. So once you meet up with a seller, you obviously want to check out the motorcycle. You want to make sure it's in good running condition. A good way to see if a motorcycle has been maintained is double check the oil, see if the oil is, if it looks black, then that bike likely was not taken care of. But if the oil is a nice light golden brown, that means the bike was likely very well taken care of. You're going to want to check the chain on your motorcycle to see the condition. And as you can see on my chain is pretty much immaculate because I take very good care of these motorcycles. Now, somebody with a rusted out chain that looks like it's about to pop off, you may want to stay clear of that because that means that other things on the bike may not have been taken care of. Another big problem that you want to look for are fork leaks. Fork seals do commonly go bad on motorcycles, and if you see fluid dripping out of forks, you know that the bike was likely abused, wheelied, and that's going to be a very expensive service that you're going to have to take care of as soon as you buy the motorcycle, and so you want to stay clear of bikes like that. Once you've come to an agreement on price, you can then hand him the money, you get the title, sign over the title at a notary office, then take the title to a BMV or DMV, pay your taxes on the bike, make sure you get a title and registration, get plates for your bike just in case you get pulled over, make sure you get insurance on a motorcycle, and then you are all set, legal, and ready to ride. I know it sounds like a lot and it can be very intensive and overwhelming in the beginning, but I've done this process like 16 or 17 times at this point with all the motorcycles that I've bought. Believe me, it gets repetitive, but it's not that bad and you can do it. Now, insurance is gonna be a crazy thing on these bikes. So the thing is with insurance is I pay on this motorcycle about $200 or $300 a year on this bike. Now, as far as insurance is concerned, this looks like a very underpowered bike. They don't understand that it's a very fun bike to ride. And so the more boring bike that you get on paper, the cheaper that your insurance is going to be. Now, a sport bike like a Yamaha R1 or my S1000RR that looks really fast and is really fast, you're gonna end up paying like $2,000 or $3,000 a year for insurance. And some people are even quoted even higher. And so it all depends on where you live, how old you are, and how many tickets or accidents that you've been involved in. Do you guys wanna go for a ride? I kinda wanna go for a ride. Let's go for a ride in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So basically my entire goal of trying to say all of this is I want you guys to realize how attainable motorcycles really are. This is not a tool for the rich. This is not like a flex thing. No, this is genuinely a hobby that you can start while you're young and carry with you for the rest of your life. It's kind of like working out. It's a great equalizer in life. Because yeah, a rich kid can buy a brand new Ducati V4, or his first bike can be, you know, daddy bought him a Kawasaki H2 because he thinks he's ready for it. Or maybe his dad has a life insurance policy on him. But that doesn't mean the kid's going to be able to actually ride the bike. These things take skill. It's not like a car that you can just immediately hop on and just, you can do whatever you want with it. No, motorcycles require some semblance of skill and rideability in order to be able to survive on these things, which is inherently inherently what makes it such a great hobby. But yeah, I can understand like there are a couple of barriers to getting into a motorcycle, but if you put your mind to it, it's not like a supercar that takes your entire lifetime to attain. No, I was able to buy my first motorcycle while in high school. I was a teenager when I bought my first bike. I bought a motorcycle that was faster than the one I'm currently riding. Isn't that crazy? You could just do that. Yeah, I understand bikes like Ducatis and 1000cc motorcycles are really expensive. To be honest with you, the type of people riding those bikes probably have earned their keep a little bit. It wasn't until my 4th year of riding that I was finally bought my first 1000cc bike, my Yamaha R1. And you know what? I rode that bike pretty well, all things considered. I didn't have any accidents on it. I was totally fine. There's one last thing we have to talk about that likely you're gonna have issues with. If you were like me, when I bought my first motorcycle, I was living with my parents, unfortunately. Now, I'm always going to recommend that you should probably move out of your parents' house before buying a motorcycle. Like all things in life, getting out of your parents' house opens doors that you would never see until you actually do it. Now, in my case, I was very fortunate. Even though that we didn't have any room in our garage for a motorcycle, my parents have this sliding glass door in the front of the house that goes to the basement. Now, because of that, I was just rolling in my motorcycle in and out of our basement. Basically, I was keeping it inside of our house permanently until I eventually moved out of my parents' house. I'm no longer living there right now. Back in Ohio, I now have an apartment. I don't live in California. This is just like my little vacation. Which, I mean, if you see these roads, you would understand why I choose to vacation out here. But yeah, if you're living at your parents' house, if they don't have room for a motorcycle, unfortunately, your first order of operation is probably going to have to be to move out first before you buy a motorcycle, which then obviously increase the cost because then you have to pay for rent, you have to pay for your own things, but that's life. Unfortunately, living isn't free, and honestly, it's probably for the best. If the motorcycle is what's keeping you motivated to move out of your parents' house, it's probably a good thing. That's a good motivation to have. It keeps you hungry and keeps you working. I slowly find myself becoming my dad as I get older in my life. I'm constantly working 2 jobs, so social media to me is basically a full-time job, especially at the rate that I post and make content. It's incredibly demanding. It's a full-time job. Now, it's one of the best jobs in the freaking world. I'm not complaining, but it does take up a lot of time. On top of that, I'm also doing college for full-time, which is its own job within itself. I wouldn't quite call it a full-time job, but it's kind of like a part-time job. College is also extremely time-consuming. Now, as far back as I can remember, my dad has been working 2 jobs pretty much his entire adult life, and I respect the hell out of him for it. And so I imagine after I graduate from college, I'm going to continue to do content pretty much as long as I'm able. I'm still probably going to get a job after I graduate college and continue to do like this 2-job thing for pretty much the rest of my life. I can't imagine ever not working. Like retirement to me just seems so, I don't know, like out there. Probably because I enjoy what I do. I enjoy school. I enjoy making content, and I'm probably going to find a job that I enjoy after college anyway. Because again, motorcycles are really cheap. I don't have the aspiration of buying a Lamborghini. I don't need $1 million mansion to live in. I just want a motorcycle and a garage, and I'm happy, bro. So I feel comfortable getting a job that probably won't pay the best, and I can continue to live a happy life. Motorcycles are just, it's so freaking pretty, man. I love it out here. Motorcycles, they're cool. I love these things, the adventure of it. In terms of convincing your parents to ever get a motorcycle, I hate to say it's just probably not going to happen. If they are fully against you ever riding a motorcycle, it makes sense. Motorcycling is inherently a dangerous hobby. However, it can be done correctly. With full proper gear, armored pants, boots, I'm not wearing right now, an armored jacket, everything, a good expensive helmet, all of these things can probably help sway your parents in the favor of letting you buy a motorcycle. Taking the initiative to show that you can be somewhat responsible before even buying a motorcycle can probably help your case out a little bit. And if you know that a motorcycle is eventually something you're going to get anyway, there's no point in not buying the gear by yourself and taking initiative on that action. Yeah, motorcycle gear can be really expensive if you buy the good stuff. These are not the people I was going to meet up here. You guys aren't the person I was going to meet up, are you? No?
What up?
What's going on? I'm not from around here. Some dude was messaging me. He's like, yo, I got an S1000. You want to ride? And I'm like, fuck yeah. Yeah. Of course. And I saw you guys. I was like, these aren't S1000s, but...
Where you from?
What's up?
Where you from?
Ohio.
You're on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. What up, dude?
What's going on?
I'm Tanner.
Jay, nice to meet you. So while we were riding out here, I met up with my man Davis, right? Dude, he has this beautiful M edition of a S1000RR 2024. Very reminiscent of the one that I own. So I had a 2023, so this is a slightly upgraded version of whatever I owned. This one's got the full carbon wheels, the M brakes. Here's the electronic dampeners, all that beautiful white color with only 1,300 miles on it. And my man is letting me rip this thing up and down the highway. He's gonna be sitting here watching over my bike, and we're gonna go for a quick rip. So we'll be right back. Matthew Woods stole my BMW. It's gone. Dude, I've been fiending to get myself on an S1000 for a while now. All right, it's a gear. Oopsies. Come on. Woo. Okay. Now let's be respectful and yeah, let's turn everything off, shall we? There we go. All electronics off. I like how BMW just does that. You can just turn everything off if you want. Dude, yes! BMW S1000RR out in Escondido, California. If we wreck this thing, then we are a total just a-hole, bro. Oh, dude, it's so weird hopping back on a sport bike. This is so awkward and weird. They are excellent bikes when they work. Oh yeah, but once you open it up, it opens up pretty nicely. It's been so long. Oh, get the power! Yeah! I look like this idiot. Why can't I wheelie in third? What is going on here? So, wheeling these things stack, not a good idea. Yeah, that was not good. I can't believe I ever wheelie this thing. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to it, bro. I was trying to clutch it up in third. It's not doing it. It does not want to clutch up in third. It does not have the power stock. So I'm going to try to go for a second gear, but I'm like, I don't know, man. The power wheelie was a little terrifying on this thing. I don't know how to feel. They're a little scary stock, dude. They're not as smooth as they are with the bread tune. Okay, yeah. I mean, we set all the correct power modes, so I know it's not. We're gonna try turning everything back on. Crap, wheelie control is still on. I forgot I left that on. So I have to turn everything back on. Maybe it's the carbon wheels throwing me off. I really don't know, bro. I don't know what to tell. Okay, now we can do it. I used to be able to clutch up in third on these things, but like I feel like this one doesn't have the power. I mean, she's got power, dude. Don't get me wrong. Holy shit! This is how to ride a motorcycle, baby. Yeah. Yeah, these bikes do not like to wheelie stock. They just don't. I don't know what it is. Yo, thank you so much for letting me ride your bike. This has been one of the greatest experiments I have ever endured. Holy cow. Yeah, if any followers ever want me to test ride your bike for you, my God, I'm a very happy guy in order to do that. It makes me very happy. Oh, I gotta remember, these are probably the stock tires on this bike too. Okay, so the S1000 tires are not phenomenal. They can kind of be a little, I like how he took off the stickers on his. It just makes the S1000 look that much classier. I like it. Dude, this thing freaking shreds, man. Oh, man. Oh, your thing just died too, so good timing. Holy cow. So this was not how I thought I would be ending today's video, but we somehow have gotten the keys to a 2024 BMW S1000RR. The guy that you guys saw earlier in the video, he straight up was like, yeah, you just want to like have it for the trip. Thank you, brother.
What year?
It's 24.
24?
Yes, sir.
How fast have you got it going?
This is actually my buddy's. He just gave it to me to ride, so haven't hit anything yet.
Okay. Be careful out there, man.
Oh, hell yeah. Appreciate you. Yes, so this was given to me by a follower. Just a little rental for the rest of the trip. Just literally the nicest thing I think anybody has ever done for me. This is not a cheap motorcycle, by the way. This is like a $25,000 motorcycle that we are going to treat with utter respect, utter kindness, and we are not going to abuse, and we're going to make sure we keep it clean and return it in better condition than what he is giving it to me. Can't believe I'm in California now riding a BMW S1000RR. This is an M edition, by the way. Just beautiful bike all around. This thing looks very well maintained, very well kept. It's only got 1,300 miles on it. I'm just very lucky that he trusts me enough with this bike to be able to ride it. And what a guy, man. What a Chad. Dude, we have heated grips now. Oh my God, Heavenly Father. Don't mind riding around California in the winter, but my hands have been getting a little cold even through these winter gauntlets. So now the fact that we have access, open access, unrestricted access to heated grips just opened up a whole new avenue of night riding for me. Dude, we have a BMW S1000RR in California. Stock exhaust, but I can't. That's not a complaint, by the way. It's actually quite nice living around here. Dude, I could already feel the grips working. This is so nice. We have a 200 horsepower super bike given to us by one of the coolest dudes I think I'll ever meet in my life. And we are off, dude. We're riding up to a 2024 BMW S1000RR carbon wheels. This thing feels incredible. Feels like nothing between my legs right now. How did this happen, bro? I don't understand. Anyway, I'm probably gonna end today's video here. I'm just gonna take this home. We're gonna go grab something to eat in a little bit. Hope you guys are having a good one, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye. Dude, how does this happen? This thing feels good, dude.